the electric truck division here at the Boyertown Auto Body Works. So he's going to tell us how these were converted right here in Boyertown. So here we are, Sam and Bob.
So I'm just going to get a little history of the car itself. When Volkswagen was really popular back in the 60s and into the 70s, they were looking to build cars in North America. So they acquired a plant from Chrysler. Chrysler had started building a plant in Westmoreland County out near Pittsburgh. And this was in 68. By 69, they decided to give up the plant. So the plant stayed idle for about a decade when Volkswagen came in and bought the plant and finished it, and then started building the Volkswagen Rabbit, which is the American version of the Volkswagen Golf. They built Rabbits, they built Rabbit pickup trucks, GTIs, and Jettas from 1978 until 1988. Volkswagen sales dropped considerably during that time, so they didn't have the need to build vehicles locally. But in 1980 and 81, this was the heyday of Volkswagen's Rabbit sales. The Rabbit that you see here is different than the Rabbit we got before that, and you can tell a Pennsylvania Rabbit because Pennsylvania Rabbits have the rectangular headlights and the longer taillights in the back, whereas ones imported were round headlights and had much shorter taillights. Other than that, the cars are very similar, and the Rabbit name was exclusive to U.S. sold Golfs. But this is an 81 Rabbit that was built in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, and then it was sold to STD.
It was the South Coast Technology.
Here, I'll give Bob Dare the floor for the rest of the story on this car.
Okay. There were 300 rabbits came on our property here in the 80s, and they came from New Stanton, as Sam said. We converted them. We had an assembly line right inside the museum building where we modified. What we did is, I'll go through a little list of what we did to the Rabbit. So if you want to go home and build one, you can follow instructions. First of all, as we got them inside, we had to remove some parts and pieces. We opened the hood, and of course we took the hood off, and then we took the radiator out, and that was right after we drained the antifreeze out. We also removed the exhaust system, removed the gas engine, but left the transmission. We took out the back seat, and then that allowed us to cut a hole in the back of the floor where the seats and the trunk were. So we then installed a support and a fiberglass container that all the batteries went into. The electric motors were built and put right up against the transmission. So we still had the use of the standard stock transmission. We used electronic controllers, onboard chargers. The vehicles went through our assembly line, and the suspension was also improved a little bit to carry the extra weight, although we did remove a fair amount of weight from of course, the gas tank, the fuel lines, exhaust system, muffler, so forth. And then the car was ready to run. We would drive it off of the assembly line, and the organization that actually had received the contract to build, to make the Volkswagens electric was called a South Coast Technology, and they had rented a building over on Gilbertsville Road. So once the Rabbit left here, it went to that facility on Gilbertsville Road. Computer was fine-tuned over there, and then it was brought back here to the Body Works to be shipped, and they went all over United States. There was 300 of them shipped to all different places. I know we took a dozen or more to Ford Test Facility in Michigan. But the reason that Boyertown Body Works and our division was called the Batronic Truck Division And the reason that we were picked to do this conversion for South Coast Technology was because we had been making electric vehicles here in Boyertown since the 60s. We made bread truck delivery vans, we did people carriers, and we had a utility van that we were awarded by the government for U.S. Post Office service, and also the Electric Vehicle Council and the Utility Association. We sent vans to 57 different electric utilities throughout the United States. Some utilities bought 6, some bought a dozen, some bought 2. But we had a good reputation because we built a good product. Our electric van would do anything you really needed it to do for a little van like we had. If you go in the museum, there's a pickup truck and a van in the museum on display. We also had, at that time, we had a quick change battery system. We had that patented that we could change a battery in less than 5 minutes. Independently attested, actually, it was 3 minutes and 42 seconds. So we really had a great vehicle. And in the 70s, you know, gas was not available in some stations. You had to get gas on evens or odd dates and so forth. And we were really quite busy. The phone rang off the hook, people wanting electric vans and electric vehicles. But in the 80s, when the gas went down to what they considered reasonable, the electric vehicle business sort of dwindled. So we were just 40 years too far ahead, that's all. So thank you for coming today, and make sure you get into the museum to see the other vehicles. Thank you.